It is dinner time. You are hungry. You look at the plate in front of you. Mashed potatoes, or maybe a bowl of white rice, or some crispy French fries. To most people, this is comfort food. But to millions of people struggling with blood sugar, this plate is a ticking time bomb. It is what doctors call the white death. The moment you eat that potato, your body converts the starch into glucose. Your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas screams for help, and you are forced to rely on expensive medication or insulin injections just to survive the meal. It is a trap. We are addicted to the very food that is killing us. But what if I told you there is a biological glitch in nature? What if there was a root vegetable that tastes like a potato, cooks like a potato, and is even sweeter than a potato, but has a glycemic index of almost 0? It sounds impossible. Sweetness without sugar, carbs without the crash? But this plant exists. It is called the sunroot. It acts as a natural insulin regulator. Instead of spiking your blood sugar, it acts as a powerful ally for your gut and supports a healthy metabolism. And here's the best part for any survivalist. This is the only crop in the world that creates an infinite food loop. You plant it once, just once, and it will feed you, your children, and your grandchildren forever. You never have to buy seeds again. You never have to replant. You cannot kill it even if you try. It is the zombie vegetable. But I have to stop you right here with a critical warning. This zombie trait is a double-edged sword. If you run out to your garden and throw these tubers into the ground like regular potatoes, you are making a catastrophic mistake. This plant is an invasive monster. It is aggressive. It is relentless. If you do not follow the prison rule of planting, it will escape, take over your entire property, and choke out every other vegetable you own. Do not plant a single seed until you watch the end of this video, where I will show you how to build a botanical cage to harness this power safely. This is the story of the Jerusalem artichoke. Welcome to Reclaimed Nature. To understand the true power of this tuber, we don't look at a medical textbook. We look at a history book, specifically the Dark Winter of 1944, World War II. Europe was starving. The Nazi occupation forces had seized almost all the food supplies in France and the Netherlands. They took the wheat, they took the cattle, and most importantly, they confiscated the potatoes. The potato was the fuel of the army. It was valuable. But growing in the corners of the fields, ignored and wild, was a strange, knobby root. The German soldiers looked at it with disgust. They called it pig food because it was ugly and hard to peel. They left it behind, and that was their mistake. While the occupying army ate potatoes, the local resistance fighters and starving families survived on Jerusalem artichokes. They discovered that this pig food was a nutritional powerhouse. It didn't rot in the ground during the freezing winter. In fact, the frost made it sweeter. It provided massive energy without needing complex processing. It became the tuber of the resistance. This plant has a history of saving lives. Before the Europeans even arrived in America, the indigenous people planted it along their migration routes. Why? Because unlike corn or beans, which die every year, the sunroot waits underground. It is a living pantry that never spoils. So, here's the question that should make you angry. If this plant saved Europe from starvation, and if it holds the key to solving the modern diabetes crisis, why is it missing from your grocery store? Why are the shelves full of the white death potatoes that make us sick, while the immortal cure is treated like a weed? The answer is ugly. It involves industrial vanity, corporate laziness, and a biological function that modern society is too embarrassed to talk about. Look at it. It's knobby. It's twisted. It looks like a ginger root that has been in a fist fight. Do you think an industrial peeling machine wants to deal with this? No. The industry chose the potato because it was smooth and convenient, not because it was better. But honestly, that is just the surface reason. The real reason is much more embarrassing. It involves a biological function that polite society tries to ignore. In the 17th century, a British botanist named John Goodyer planted these tubers. After eating them, he wrote a famous warning: "Which way soever they be dressed and eaten, they stir and cause a filthy, loathsome, stinking wind within the body." He was talking about gas, flatulence. This earned the plant a cruel nickname, the Fartichoke. Modern society is obsessed with being sanitized. We want food that is silent. We want digestion that is invisible. So we rejected this superfood because of a temporary social awkwardness. But here is the cognitive flip you need to understand. That gas, that rumbling in your stomach, that is not sickness. That is not a defect. That is the sound of your gut microbiome coming back from the dead. We have spent decades eating sterile, processed food that starves our good bacteria. When you eat a Jerusalem artichoke, you are finally feeding them. The gas is just the exhaust fumes of a biological engine restarting after years of neglect. We traded a healthy gut for a polite dinner table, and the price we paid was a global epidemic of metabolic disease. Let's strip away the social stigma and look at the biochemistry, because this is where the sunroot earns its title as the diabetic's potato. The magic lies in a molecule called inulin. Do not confuse this with insulin. Inulin is a unique type of carbohydrate. When you eat a regular potato, your stomach acid breaks the starch down into simple glucose instantly. Boom, sugar in the blood, insulin spike, fat storage. But when you eat a Jerusalem artichoke, your body is confused. Humans do not have the enzyme to break down inulin, so it passes through your stomach and small intestine completely untouched. It is like a ghost. It provides the sweet taste on your tongue, but it contributes almost 0 calories and 0 sugar to your bloodstream. For a diabetic, this is the holy grail. You get the comfort of a roasted root vegetable without the insulin crash. But the journey isn't over. When that inulin reaches your large intestine, the magic happens. It acts as a prebiotic. It becomes high-octane fuel for the beneficial bacteria, like bifidobacteria. According to studies published in the British Journal of Nutrition, when these bacteria feast on inulin, they produce short-chain fatty acids. These acids act like medicine. They repair the gut lining, boost immunity, and incredibly, they signal your body to increase its own insulin sensitivity. Think about that. The potato breaks your metabolism. The sunroot repairs it. It is a biological hack that nature designed millions of years ago. So the science is undeniable. The survival value is infinite. The only things standing in your way are the invasive monster in the garden and the gas bomb in the kitchen. But don't worry, I'm about to hand you the keys to control both. Now, let's solve the problems. How do you grow the zombie without destroying your garden? And how do you eat the fartichoke without destroying your social life? First, the prison rule. I cannot stress this enough. Never plant Jerusalem artichokes in a raised bed or open garden. They spread by rhizomes underground. If you miss a piece the size of a fingernail, it will regrow. Within 2 years, your tomato patch will be a sunroot forest. You must treat this plant like a prisoner. Plant it in a large container, a heavy-duty fabric pot, or an isolated patch of dirt surrounded by concrete. Consider it a quarantine zone. Once it is in there, you do nothing. You don't water it, you don't fertilize it, it thrives on neglect. When winter comes and the tall stalks die back, that is your signal. The sugar content is highest after a frost. Dig them up as you need them. But remember, you don't need to replant for next year. Just leave a few small tubers in the soil. The zombie will rise again in the spring. It is the only food source you buy once and inherit forever. Second, the lemon hack. How do we stop the gas? The secret is breaking down the inulin before it enters your gut. Option 1, the acid boil. When you boil the tubers, Add a generous splash of lemon juice or vinegar to the water. The acid helps hydrolyze the inulin chains, making them easier to digest. Option 2, the slow roast, the best way. Roast them low and slow, 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius for at least 90 minutes. This long exposure to heat transforms the inulin into fructose. The result? The gas disappears and the flavor transforms. It stops tasting like a potato and starts tasting like caramelized nuts or sweet roasted chestnuts. It is a delicacy disguised as a survival food. Start with small portions. Train your gut. Your microbiome needs time to adjust to real food again. Planting this diabetic potato is more than just gardening. It is an insurance policy. It is knowing that no matter what happens to the supply chain, you have a calorie source that cannot be killed. It is knowing that you have a medicine chest buried in your backyard. So, build your cage, plant your zombie, and reclaim your health from the industrial food trap. If you're ready to invite this monster into your garden, hit the like button. Subscribe to Reclaimed Nature, because the cure is usually growing right under your feet. Dig deep, stay wild.